Thank you so much for talking with me today, Rena. I'm really excited to talk more about your work and your process and where you are. If I know everybody loves this, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself because I feel like we all talk about what we do better than someone else can. So if you want to just give us a little overview of kind of who you are and what you do and what drives you, we'll dig in from there.
Okay. So it's always fun to talk about yourself.
Right.
Uh,
No pressure.
I'm Rena Joy. So mostly I define myself as a poet. Yeah, exactly. So mostly I define myself as a poet. I write about identity and love and the adoptee experience, which I am an adoptee. And then on the other side of things, I write for children. So it's kind of a interesting balance.
Mhm.
Um,
I think
yeah,
that's
that's I guess me in a nutshell.
yeah, I think that's so great because when you think about the kind of writing that you do, from a poetry standpoint, about identity and, love and everything, while I'm sure it's geared more toward adults, relearning to love themselves. That's also such a it's kind of a I wish I'd had this as a child. There's so much formative experience in childhood that I to me it seems like that all would tie back together. Do you find that to be the case?
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think like as there's a lot of things we can't process in childhood until we are adults. So
Yeah.
yeah, we can do that through our work, or we can do that through reading other people's work. Um, that certainly was my case that I wasn't really able to, think about love the way I can think about love now as an adult.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
having
Um,
experience kind of shifts that.
yeah, absolutely. You're writing for children. Am I correct that it's middle grade fiction?
Yeah, it's middle grade fiction, fantasy.
Okay.
Um, so it's interesting because you'll see some of that fantasy in my poetry too. I do bring a little bit of fantasy over into it.
Love.
Um, I do, yeah. I don't know. Fantasy is something else, but you can still talk about real issues while using magic or whatever you're using in that book. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. So uh how long have you been writing? Has uh part of your life forever, or is it something you came to, later? I know a lot of people I end up really connecting with. We're all like, "Oh yeah, I came to it later." It's so often motherhood that does it to you. But what was your background?
Um, yeah. So I won a poetry contest in elementary. And haven't really stopped writing. And then I got into poetry kind of in my preteens, and I was doing that a lot to just kind of process my own feelings and
Mhm.
whatever was going on in my life. And then I kind of just abandoned poetry for the longest time, and then didn't get back into it until my 30s. And instead, during that time, I started writing fantasy. I thought it was more, I think, more acceptable um,
Right.
to write for children. And I love writing for children, but I think in my head, it was more acceptable than being a poet. Um, and then maybe about 5 years, no, like 3 years ago, I found the poetry club and started like being like, oh, yes, I actually really love poetry and it's my first love and I want to get back to this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of
Oh,
been
that's
my journey.
amazing. I love that you came back to it. What that poetry club, was that something you were looking for, or did you just kind of stumble across it?
I stumbled across it. So it was just a poet I was following on Instagram, Shelby Lee, and then I noticed she had a poetry club, which is sadly closed now. But while it was open, it was the most amazing club to be part of, and just really brought back my love of poetry and convinced me I could publish a book too. So
So amazing. And so you did publish, that was this year, or I guess last year at this point, but within this past 365 days, you did publish. And it, just following along, like what an exciting, I'm sure really stressful, but for me, very exciting journey to watch. Can you tell us a little bit more about that process? Like, was it amazing? Do you regret it? You ready to do it again? Or where do you fall?
I kind of feel like it was one of those I didn't know what I didn't know. And I just like dived in. And I was like, well, I'm in the process now and everyone's expecting it. So I'm just going to keep going. Um, I I think because what I wrote was so personal, there was a lot of like me flipping out. And thankfully my husband's like, no, this is a good book. Keep going. There was definitely a few times when I almost pulled the plug and erased all my social media and just said I'm done. But I pushed through and I'm really glad I did. Because those feelings of flipping out were so temporary. By the next day, I was like, oh, yes, I'm so much better now that I've had a nap. I'm so much better that now that I've just sat
I
with my
ate something.
feelings. It's
Yeah.
been like, that's just me being scared.
Yeah.
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 So that's been really good. And then the reception to my book was pretty good.
Yeah.
For the like, I don't think I've really received any negative comments from people. So that's been really good. I'm sure it will come down the road as my book grows, but for the most part, people were really supportive.
That's
So
beautiful.
I am going to do another book, not this year. I need to give myself a little more time this time, and so that's coming out. My tentative date is March 2026, so I'm giving myself quite a bit more time than I did the first time.
But how
So
fast, like from the time you said I'm doing this to the time that you published, like how fast was that process?
Um, I think okay, so I contacted my editor in February to see if I could hire her, if she was available. And then yeah, so she kind of gave me she's like, "Okay, I can take your book on in the summer." So in February, I guess, of
Wow.
2024, I decided that this for sure was going to be a book. And then I picked November because I mean it's Adoptee Awareness Month, and I wanted it to come out in November. I also was determined to have a book out before I turned 40. I don't know. It was just in my head that I had to do this.
Yeah.
So it was pretty quick, I guess. Like most of my book was
Yeah.
already written by that point. So it wasn't like I was writing from scratch or anything. Um, but it did feel quick. And I understand why publishing houses have such a long period of time before a book comes out.
For real. Yeah, like just just sitting here, I'm like, wow, you did that in 9 months. Even if everything was already written, that's like in so many ways, especially in the self-publishing area, like the writing is not the hard part. Like that's the easy part. Like it's the oh, I gotta work with the editor. I gotta figure out the layout. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna get these printed. I gotta figure out the ISBN. I gotta figure out how to sell them. Like that is such a oh a very and for me like I'm not a detail oriented person so that just sounds so tedious and horrible. Did you enjoy that process or how did was it torture like how did you handle that?
I liked most of it. Um, Formatting for an ebook is the worst experience I've ever had. I, I think that if that I'm going to hire a formatter this time around. That part was
Yeah.
tedious. Everything else I didn't mind. Like I like doing design. I like I like marketing to a point. I like thinking about marketing. I had the poetry club at the time, so I was able to go to them and bounce a lot of things off of what was going wrong or what was going right.
Good too.
For the most part, I liked the process. I hated the formatting. If I can hire that out this time around, I will be so happy.
Absolutely. Things like that. It's so worth it,
Um,
to say, oh, look, now I don't have to
yeah,
worry about it. It's going to be good. And, it's just, now it's not a thing anymore. For
right?
sure.
I think I just thought it was going to be easy, and it wasn't as easy as I thought.
Right. Well, I mean, it seems, conceptually, like when you don't, it's one of those you don't know what you don't know. And you're like, yeah, how hard can it be? Like, how different can this possibly be from, the printed book? That should be the hard part. But I find, once technology is involved, it's never easy. Did you have to did you have to format it differently for like EPUB versus Kindle versus, everything else?
No, I ended up just using Kindle Crate to do the
Okay.
ebook. At first, I didn't. And then I was like, this is turning into a disaster and it's not looking right. And so I just gave in and started using Kindle Crate, which made my life so much easier. It still took a while to figure it out, going from my printed book format to that, but it started going a lot quicker once I kind of gave in and was like, okay, just use the tech that
Yeah.
Amazon has, just use it.
Yeah. So are you just on
So
Amazon, or have you gotten your book into any other stores, or are you just focusing on Amazon?
No, I'm going to be adding it onto Ingram. So what happened was I kind of ran out of time and I didn't get to see my print book before the postal strike. And Ingram's a little bit different than KDB. And so I wanted to see a physical copy from Ingram before I approved it. Right. Like
Yeah.
I needed to see it. Like I'm sure it's going to look very similar, but I didn't get a chance to order a copy before the postal strike. And so I was like, I don't feel like it's a responsible thing to do to approve a book that I haven't physically seen.
Yeah.
Um, that was pretty important to me.
Absolutely.
So that should be coming here soon, and then I'll be able to approve it. And it will be available more places, hopefully, right?
Oh, that's so
So,
exciting. That's so great. Because I know like you had really great reception and everything on Amazon. Like I saw you up there and you're in the bestsellers on Amazon, which is so exciting. And I just think that's so beautiful that that you have that ability as a self-published author to get it out there. It's not just like, oh, now I have been hamstrung because I did this on my own. But I love that freedom that we're getting in the self-publishing space. I love
right.
that.
Well, and that was
Are you?
another thing that I was just
Oh
going to
no, go ahead.
say that's another thing I learned from other poets that have been through it.
Hmm.
You have to own your own ISPN. If you want to
Okay.
go and like leave Amazon and go to other places, you have to own that ISPN or you can't move. So that's an important lesson that I'm glad
Yeah.
I knew before I started. So,
Yes. Yes, I believe it. So were you totally just, we'll call it community taught, on how to self-publish, or like I know there are some like publishing houses that like work with self-publishing authors like to help them, some independent houses, or did you just do this, based off of feedback and guidance from your community?
I did it based off my community. Like I said, I had been in this poetry club for a couple years, and a lot of the people in that club had already published a book. And so I just kind of soaked up everything they shared. Plus,
Yeah.
Shelby, who led it, self published her first book. And so she shared or self published her first two books. And so she talked a lot about her process and shared that with us. And so that's where I learned a lot, just taking all that in. And then I don't know, a couple years in, I was like, oh, maybe I can actually do this.
Yeah. Oh,
Hopefully,
yeah,
I know enough. I can do this.
for sure. Yeah, and it's so exciting to see it go from like I wonder, to, oh my gosh, here is a finished product. Like I I did it, and so successful. Um, so your next book, is it going to follow in the same vein of topic and ideas, or or are you sharing? You don't have to share. I guess that could totally be um not yet announced.
It's yeah, it's not announced yet. It's probably gonna be a little bit darker, truthfully.
Okay.
It's not gonna be like there'll still be love and stuff in there, like almost love. The main theme is love. So you'll see a little bit of that in my second book. That isn't gonna be the main focus though.
Okay.
I'm still figuring all that out. I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be I'm gonna be exploring a little bit more of what it means to be a villain and what it means to be a villain from both sides. That's kind of the question I'm looking at, what it means to be a villain.
That-
Whether
that's
that
amazing.
you're being called a villain because you are one, or maybe you aren't one. So that's kind of the question I guess I'm going to be looking at. What does it mean to be a villain?
Oh, that's very cool. I'm very excited. that that will be like, I always love I love it when you read, a series of books, and you've got this big bad villain through the whole thing, and then like at the end they write the book from the villain's perspective, and you're like, "Oh, yeah. Like nobody's the villain in our own stories." Like we I don't know. There are some people that I can't figure out what their redeeming qualities are, but for the most part, you're like, that that came from somewhere, and so often they think they are doing right. There's that skewed perspective of things. So I love that idea of like looking at things from different sides to be like, okay, which one of these is based in reality? Well, there can be so many different truths at the same time, and they can seem contradictory, but they can still be happening at the same time and still be truths. So that's very exciting. I love
Thank
that.
you.
I love that. Oh, I'm so excited now. Sorry. Like my brain is stuck. Um, I did want to ask, like I heard somebody saying this the other day, and I was like, wow, I had forgotten about that. How they talk about a lot of times creatives, the idea is, create what you wish was there for you when you were younger. Um, do you feel like your writing, is that something that you're like, man, I wish I'd had this before? Like, do you look back at, you're almost loved for sure, and possibly even, the fiction that you write, do you feel like those things would have, if they already existed, those would have been a balm to you when you were younger?
Definitely with my book Almost Loved, I think that's the book I needed in my early 20s when I was really just trying to figure out um, my feelings and like what was wrong with me, I guess. Nothing wrong with me, but like when you're just trying to figure out how trauma is playing out in your life, but you don't know it's trauma. Um,
Absolutely.
I think, I think that would have been a really good book, and it would have started opening things for me that I didn't really realize until I started, going to therapy and talking to other people that had experienced what I had experienced.
Yeah. I think it's so easy to not realize how um prolific is the wrong word, but it's the only word that's coming to, how widespread our experiences can be. Like, it's so easily to feel isolated in our experience, like, oh, it's just me. It's just me. But we're not suffering alone. There are always other people right there with us. We just don't know it. We don't know that they're going through this. We might not know them, but just that connection of, it wasn't just me, I think sometimes goes so far to making you realize it also wasn't your fault. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
there is nothing wrong with you. Like, it was just this was done to you. You didn't do it to yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think when you go through trauma though, if you don't realize that it's trauma that's playing out, you do think like, oh, there's something wrong with me. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, things that happen to you change your brain. They change the way you act. They change the way you build relationships with other people. Like it affects everything in your life until you know what's happening. And
Absolutely.
even when you know when it's happening, still
Right.
it keep playing out, right? So yeah.
Absolutely. Um, so I know you used poetry as a means for kind of processing everything and going, working through it. Did you end up building like a daily practice around it? Like, okay, a lot of people do, like my morning pages and stuff, journaling just to kind of process where things are. Is that how you used it, or I don't know.
Well, when I was younger, like in my teen years, yeah, I pretty much wrote every day. I have volumes and volumes of journals from that time. I don't work that way now as much. Just depends. Like I'm a mother now, so like it just depends. Like I don't necessarily write every day.
Mhm.
I write most days. Um, and a lot of the time it's just like, yeah, whatever's going through my head. Like I think I can't ever think of there ever being a time where writing wasn't a way to process my life.
Yeah.
Um, it's always a way to process my life. Even when I'm having a good day, sometimes I just want to write a poem about it because I'm just capturing however I'm feeling in that moment.
Mhm.
Like setting strict times, like this is when you have to write, and this is when I don't know. That's like the ADHD. That's just me most days, just like, okay, I have time to write. Let's write right now.
Yes. Yeah, my favorite is the voice memo thing because my
Yeah.
my best words come when I am not near pen and paper or computer or anything, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna do a voice memo and just get this out." Um, but yeah, like I find it very hard to decide, okay, I'm going to sit down and write. It feels like my brain says, "Oh no, 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 no. We're gonna overthink it if we just sit down and and write." Um, so like I really feel like the best work for me happens. Woo, I just sorry, I'm playing with the needed eraser and it broke and I hit my computer. Anyway, I feel like the best the best words for me happen when I'm occupied with something else. Like I like to take hikes and I'm the weird person in the middle of the woods hiking by myself with a voice memo recorder just talking to myself as I walk down the trail. Um
Love it.
but like I know I've done your poetry nest a few times and oh, amazing. Anybody who does poetry, it's amazing. Because while I struggle with like sit down, it's time to write, like the prompts are so great. Like, do you use prompts typically on your own, or is that how you work, or do you just kind of wait for whatever is bouncing off the brain?
Um, Sometimes I use prompts. Sometimes I'll just be like scrolling through Instagram and there's always like some poet that's posting some kind of prompt and some of my best poems have come from that. It just triggers something in me and I'll just go with it if I'm able to. Which I really love, but I don't think I don't seek out prompts, but when I find them, I would
Yeah.
say sometimes they just hit me right and I just go with it and see what happens. Sometimes it creates nothing but gibberish, and other times I have a couple poems in my collection that came from prompt. So,
Oh, very
yeah.
cool. Yeah, like I've tried to give myself prompts and I never get anywhere. But I find like the prompts you give every time I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. And I always have ideas. So I wonder if it's a mindset issue of like, oh, this somehow when it is external, it has become a source of inspiration and not just a direction for yourself. Because I don't like following directions. So I think that might be part of it.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
Like, I don't like doing what I tell myself I have to do, or what other people tell me. I don't like it. Um,
Yeah.
uh, so since I brought up Poetry Nest, I believe you're going to be, and maybe I'm just out of touch. You're continuing that, correct?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to be doing a session hopefully here at the end of the month. I need to send out an email to everyone about that. Yeah, I want to continue that. I think it's a great little group. I've met so many wonderful writers. And I think with that too, I learned an important lesson that I need to know kind of when I'm at my limit. Yeah, like yeah, I need to know when I'm at my limit and I need to know when to take breaks. I think that was a good lesson to remind me that yes, you're getting to your limit. Let's take a
Yeah,
break. No one's gonna hate you.
exactly. Yep, we get it. We're all there with
But I
you.
do, but I do love that little group, and I've met some really wonderful writers. Like I said, yeah, I don't know. And then like the poetry club is closed now, and I'm like, I need a group. I need a group
Yeah.
of people to write with and to create with, and just I don't know, we'll see each other publish multiple books throughout the year. Like that's
Yeah,
the exciting part. Yeah.
I love
So
that.
I have that on the kidlit side. I have that on the kidlit side. Like I've been with some of my author friends from, back when they were querying agents to now they have multiple books out. And so
Wow.
I'd love to have that on the poetry side to like grow with people that, start small and then suddenly, they're 10 books in or whatever. Like that's exciting. I want to see that
Yes,
grow.
it is, and it's so rewarding to watch people that you love, that you care about, have that kind of growth and transformation and just be able to be like, yes, like I was there for all of it and it was amazing. I got to watch the whole process, like little seedling to, oh my gosh, you're an apple tree and you've got lovely apple. That sounds weird. But
I know what you
all of a
mean.
sudden I was like, sounds weird to tell you you've got lovely apples, but whatever.
Yeah.
So is your goal with Poetry Nest to keep it kind of small and very intimate, or what would your, if you could create your, I mean, you are creating it, but if you had all the control in the world to make it exactly what you want it to be, what's your dream for it?
I think to keep it small and intimate, just because I like, um, I don't know, I don't do well with crowds, even virtually. Like it's can be really overwhelming. I think, but also too, like I want it to always be a space where people can come and like talk about what's going right and what's going wrong, and like you can't do that with 100 people on Zoom.
Right.
Like you can't like unless you want to be there all day, and I also don't have time for that. Like I can't be online for 3 hours listening to people. Like I don't have time for that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I went through the same thing when I was starting Creative Nexus. I was like, oh, and it could grow like this, it could grow like that. And then I was like, I don't want it that big. I mean, I'd like enough people because you don't, not everybody's going to be there every time. And it's like, okay, it'd be nice to have like 5 to 7 people each time. But it's like, once it gets much bigger than that, I don't want to be there. I'm not an extrovert. I don't like a lot of people. Like, hey. So yeah, I think the idea of those small intimate groups where you really get to know each other too. It's not just, oh, I heard this person talk for 5 minutes and now I'm invested, because it's not going to really happen. But I've worked with this person, once a month, and we had real conversations, and you get to really know the person, not just how they present in their 5 minutes. So I'm sorry,
Right.
but
Right.
yeah.
But I do agree with you. You do want enough members that if because I mean half of them don't come, right? Like
Right.
or they come at different times and that's just life.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean I think there's room to grow it. It just yeah. Need to
Yeah.
keep an eye on kind of how many people start showing up so that you don't turn into this like no one gets time to talk to each other.
Right. Yeah. It's that fun balance. And then the moment, like, because the number of times I'm like, that one was just me. I was the only one who showed up. And then I know at some point everybody's gonna show up and I'm gonna be like, oh, that was 19 people. That's too much. Thanks, friends. We're done. Can't do this. So yeah,
Right?
it's a fun juggle.
Yeah.
So I want to also ask you, like, you do a wonderful job with your social media presence, um, which I think is like, I feel like creatives, you're either good at it, like it's one of those things that just like feels good and natural to you, or it feels like a chore. Is this, do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy social media?
Hmm. Yes and no.
I like it when it's working.
Um, yeah, I like certain platforms. I like Instagram, I like Threads. I have an absolute hate for Facebook. Um,
Same.
but I have a lot of my kids I have yeah, I don't know. I have a hate love relationship with it. It's some days I want to just shut all my accounts down and just like never come back.
Yeah.
Um, and then other days I'm like, if I want to keep publishing, like you do need an audience.
Right?
Um, like
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
I
so
need an
hard.
audience beyond my husband. So
Yeah, and I'm always like, husband, how come you go out, toot my horn for me? You do. And he's like, I don't like I don't like it. Um, like you definitely have a lot going on Threads. That's where we connected, which is so lovely. Like, I love the fact that I could just say, hey, like, I need people to interview, and then I was like, look at these people. It was just so exciting, and that was one of those, like, I love it when it works. And I don't typically know how to make it work. um but do you feel like you have to limit yourself in how you use it because you're using it, professionally? Or do you just kind of no holds barred, just go out and do whatever strikes your interest?
um I think before Threads, I was very careful in the things I posted. Um and now on Threads, I've kind of just like, uh-oh, I think I kind of paused. Did you hear any of that?
I did. Yep. The video paused,
Okay.
but I still hear you. Yep.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so I think like before Threads, I was very curated in kind of what I was posting, and then Threads I've kind of let up a little bit. And there's some days I'm like, do I need to like kind of reel it back in? Um because I have gotten into a couple like situations where I'm like, okay, maybe I should have just reeled that in a little bit. Like this is still my career and this is still my image. But on the other hand, I've had people message me after a situation and been like, thank you for saying that, or you've said things that I want to say and you're saying it. And it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to find that line between being supportive and like not putting up with people's garbage and still being professional. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to kill my career, but I also have a very I can be very black and white about certain issues, and I know that. And I'm trying to be like, okay, can I find a middle ground where I'm not betraying the way I feel and betraying what I feel is right or wrong. So it is
Yeah.
kind of a hard line to toe. I kind of feel like I've stepped on the gas a little bit on Threads and just kind of um I don't know. That's a question I keep asking myself. I'm like, am I going too far? I don't know if I'm going too far or not. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I go through like cycles with it where I'm like, yeah, I got it, just do it. Be my 100% true authentic self. And then it's like I don't know if it is society in the back of my head going, hey, but no one wants to see your 100% true authentic self. Like your 100% true authentic self isn't professional. And then I go back to, but who gets to define what professional is, you know? And like, so I take myself in big loops because then I'm like, because now I'm letting somebody walk on me, but now I'm yelling and like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's no one right way to do it. Like you just have to keep trying it. And like I think about, what you said when you were, working on publishing Almost Loved, like the I'm putting so much of myself out there and, deciding, am I just scared or is this too much? Like, is this just uh-oh new fear, or is this I am not in a safe place fear? And it's like that I got to keep coming back and reevaluating over and over, like where are these thoughts coming from? Where is my inclination to hide? Because a lot of times like I'll try to bring it back when I get a lot of people who are not being helpful or nice, like because I have a very low tolerance for stupidity, very low tolerance. And like, I'm really pretty good about differentiating between ignorance and stupidity. So ignorance, that's fine. We can educate you. Stupidity, if you're going to just choose to not know, then I have no tolerance for it. So that's where, like, when I think about, I want to post this playful joke thing, and then, all hell breaks loose on it. I'm like, I don't want to because I'm not making any sense, but that's okay. Um
You're making sense.
okay. It's like I'm just going in a circle. But like it's the I think it's the matter of like, do I want to interact with the masses? Or like I feel like if I could very carefully curate who saw what I put out, that it would be lovely, but it's just the general public, and 90% of them are not my audience. Like those are not the people that I would jive with. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like how much of that, like, can we separate, like you're just not my audience, so I don't even like whatever, versus you are my audience. So like for you, like did I go too far? But then the people who are your audience are the ones who are like, thank you. Thank you for saying that. See, I knew I had a point to this. Um yeah, like and so it's the how do we separate this this wasn't meant for you. I don't really like, not to sound mean, but like I don't care what you have to say. I don't care about your feelings on this one because you're not who I said this for.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think I have to remind myself of that a lot
Mhm.
is who am I writing for? And then the other question I ask myself is, am I harming myself? Am I
Yes.
harming myself? Am I harming myself by posting? Am I harming myself by clapping back at people? Um, yeah, so those are two things that I think I need to really start thinking a lot more this year. Because I definitely got into a couple spicy moments that just didn't leave me feeling very well. And it's like I don't want that. I'm okay with standing up for myself and standing up for other people, but I don't want social media to turn into this like now I feel like a bag of crap and I want to go cry for a day. Like,
Yeah.
no, I
It,
already have other things going on. I don't need that.
right. Like I got enough things to cry about. Thank you very much. I have, especially as a mom, it's like I have a toddler who just, pooped on the floor. I got plenty of things to cry about. Yeah. And it's that thing of like, do I feel bad because of the interaction? Because some interactions are just going to leave you feeling bad. Or do I feel bad because of how I handled it? Like, you know, because some interactions you just like it goes back to that, like, am I uncomfortable because this was new and stretching myself, or am I uncomfortable because this was just bad, this was not right? And it's so hard to differentiate, especially in the moment. Like, social media makes it impossible to respond rather than reacting, because things disappear and you can't find it. The stupid page refreshes and you're like, I really wanted to respond. I had a good response, but I thought too long and now it's gone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I think that's the hard part, because sometimes if we do need to think a little bit more before we respond to something, and then it's gone, and it's like social media kind of creates this like urgency, but at the same time, maybe a lot of us do need to just take a moment and,
yeah.
yeah, not post what we're thinking, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I and then like cuz I always go back to, oh, but I need to be engaging. I need to be having conversations. But so often I'm like, I don't want to say anything because I don't know I don't know yet what I think, and now it's gone and I can't respond now. So it's that, like, it creates
Yeah.
that false sense of urgency.
Right. And then at the same time, like, I'm an artist too, and I'm like, I can be a safe artist, and I'm like, but that's not really what I think art does. I think art, like, throughout history, has always pushed boundaries and has always pushed lines, and, like, yeah. So I'm okay with pushing a little bit, but I also really don't wanna get canceled either. Like, like,
Yeah,
I don't actually wanna harm people. Like, I don't, even people that are being ignorant, like, I don't, at the end of the day, truthfully wanna harm other people.
right, right. Like, I want to, um
That's not what I'm about.
yeah, like, I'm a big, if you're not, I don't like arguing with people. I'm happy to have an exchange of ideas, where we, educate each other. But if we're going to be arguing, I'm not about it. And if I don't agree with you, and at this point I've lost respect for you, I'm just finding the block button and I'm done. But like, when I look at myself as a safe space, a safe artist, safe writer, it's always about, I'm safe for the people who are being marginalized,
Right.
people who are being oppressed. I am not a safe space for the people doing the marginalizing or the doing the oppressing. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not your safe space, because I will happily put you in your place that you are causing harm. But still, I try to make sure that I'm always very careful to do it from a place of love. Like, I always want to assume that this is not your goal. Like, surely that's not what you were trying to do. So, just in case you weren't aware, that's a really harmful thing to do or say. Surely this was not your goal. Some of them let you know that it was their goal, but I always try to come at it from a, like, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
help you, friend.
Yeah. That's the
But
problem with social media. I mean, there's a portion of them that are just, really horrible people, and you just
yeah,
gotta, accept that that's what Block was created for, and
exactly.
move on.
Move on. Yep. Just go, oh, done. Yeah. Do you use social media for your fiction writing as well?
I used to. I haven't written for kids in a really long time, so it's just been kinda sitting there. Um, I don't know, I kinda have this, like, back and forth between, like, do I really need this? Like, I know it's good to build an audience. At the same time, I'm like, I can build it when my book comes out. Like, I don't know. I'm just I'm kind of torn. And then at the same time, like I have a toddler and I'm like, she's kind of my priority
Yeah.
because of her age. She comes first and then my writing is second. And so I don't have time to have like all these accounts. So I have to just pick what one thing. And since I had a book coming out, I was like, okay, my poetry count is what I'm going to focus on. And that's all I
Yeah.
have energy for.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely understand that. I'm a big believer in condensing and just, put your effort where in one place where it matters. Like everybody's don't put all your eggs in one basket. And I'm like, if I put them in multiple baskets, I'm going to lose half of them and
Yeah.
then I won't have my eggs. If I put them all in one basket, I'm going to take really good care of that basket and I'm going to protect it. And like I think that's such a valuable way to look at it where it's like for people who don't have the capacity to just be everywhere all the time doing all the things like you can make it work. You just change your approach. It's, we're not just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. We're actually being intentional and nourishing, not nourishing,
Right.
nurturing, what we've decided to do. And I think that's such a valid way to look at things. Um,
Right.
so as a mom, with a toddler, and man, I count my blessings every day that I've moved out of that stage. Like I love my children. They were very cute toddlers, but it's really nice to be able to be like, you don't need me all the time. Um, so how do with her being your top priority, as it should be, how do you balance that and still hold space for yourself, know who you are as Rena, not just as mom, and maintain your personal identity?
I think that's why I continued to pursue writing and why it was so important to me, even with becoming a mom. I've learned a lot from my other friends who said that they really lost themselves for the first couple years, and I didn't want that. And like, yes, I've definitely shifted and changed, um, but I didn't give up writing. And I was like, I have to keep writing. It is who I am, and maybe I don't get to write as much as I used to, but I'm still doing something that matters to me. I still I schedule times to have me time too. Like that's sometimes, my husband uh gets his daddy daughter time and sometimes, she goes to my mother-in-law's and I think even though I have a small village, I think it's still important to be like, okay, I got to do this. Like I need to have some time where I'm not just mom. Like it's not enough for me. And I know for some people it's enough, but it's not enough for me. I need something outside of being a mom. So,
Please keep saying that because I know, like, I went through this with my oldest, and like everybody that I knew being a mom was enough for them, and I was like, this is not enough for me. I am not okay with this being the extent of my identity. um I can't do this. And that's actually like I wrote in high school and stuff and in college, and then I didn't. But like I brought that back and I got into art and everything as a I need to be me. I need to know who I am and hold space for myself. And then anytime you're in the entrepreneurship business world with other moms, so often they're like, my why is my kids. And I'm like, my why is me. And I feel like a horribly selfish person. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'm a really bad mom. But then I'm like, no, like my why is me. And that makes me a better mom
yeah.
because now I am a happy person. But
Right?
yeah, I like every time I hear another mom saying like, "No, that wasn't enough for me." I'm like, "Say it." Just like scream it. Like let there be more
Right.
of us to realize again, we're not alone and we don't suck and we're not horrible people. We're just humans who deserve all of us.
I think that a lot of people would be happier if they didn't play this I got to sacrifice everything to be a parent.
Yes.
Um I am a stay-at-home mom too, which I absolutely love, but if that was my whole identity, I think my husband would be taking me to the mental hospital and seriously, like it's so exhausting and draining and rewarding, but yeah, it's not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah.
And some days I kind of think like maybe my life would be simple if it was enough. Um, but it's not.
Yeah. Think about how much more time you would have if you were like, "Oh, yes, the child is down for a nap. I will just do household chores," instead of going, "No, I'm going to write. I'm going to take care of myself." But like yeah, COVID
Yeah.
hit. 2020 was that fall my youngest was supposed to start preschool. So that was going to be like
Oh
the
no.
first time in 8 years, 7 years, something like that. 7 years, 8 years. It doesn't matter. 8 years that I was going to like have me time. I was going to, and it was going to be great.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and we ended up deciding to homeschool instead of dealing with virtual stuff because I was like, then it's my mess to deal with and not somebody else's that I'm having to try to make sense of. So I was like, this will be fine. And we homeschooled for 2 years. And that was what put me over the edge where I was like, I have to do something for me. And we bought another TV to have in the basement and we put the PlayStation in the basement. And I was like, go play video games, go entertain yourselves. I'm going to make some art. And like, I went back and forth on am I a horrible parent because I absolutely just gave them video games and said, go away, go do that because I need me time? Or am I just a human being and I'm making, oh, you're fine. Like I'm making the best choice for myself, which in turn becomes the best choice for my family because I would have been in a bad place otherwise. But like I think it's so easy to think that what's best for you is not what's best for your family, but it is. Like the better you are, the better your family will be.
Yeah. I mean, I think for somebody like myself who needs to be very aware of their mental health and make sure that they're staying on top of that, I absolutely agree. Like, yeah.
Like
But it's also like, what example do I want to set for my daughter? Right?
exactly.
I want to be a good example for her. I want to show her that she can have this big life, but also too, like, women weren't put on this earth just to be mothers. Like, don't get me wrong, being a mother is an honor and it is an incredibly important job
Mhm.
because you're raising the future. But that's not all women are made for. So,
Exactly. Like it is we we are like whole human beings and I'm like and it's parenting, child rearing, none of the only part that women can do that men can't do is the being pregnant. I'm like everything else,
right?
like that is teamwork. Is it's not just the mom. And I think you're right. Like I have two boys, so I'm coming at it from the other perspective of like women. This you don't get to expect women to just pop out your babies and take care of them. But like to have a daughter and be like, no, I'm going to model for you. Like you get to have boundaries. You get to
Yeah.
say no. You get to put yourself first. Like, and that's not a bad thing. It doesn't make you a bad person. It's not going to turn you into an absent mother who's not there for her kid. It's going to help you be a better person all around. And I
Right.
love that you have that opportunity and that mindset, you know, in how you are mothering. I think more people need to see that. I love it.
Right.
But oh man. Well, Rena, I don't want to keep you because I know you have plenty of things going on. That is not a chill life with a toddler, and I know you got a dog that's waiting for you to love on it. But this has been so amazing. I have loved getting to hear more about your self-publishing journey and just kind of your outlook on things. I think that's really amazing, and I knew you were my people, and I feel even more strongly about that. For everybody else, I will in the YouTube video in the description, I'll have a link to Rena's Instagram and Threads account, and I will also have a link to her website where you can buy her book, Almost Loved. Do you still have the bundles, or are you just down to the book now?
Yeah, I'm not doing the bundles anymore. It's just the book right now. Yeah.
Okay. So I will have all of that in the description box, and definitely you will want to give her a follow because her poetry is beautiful. It is, I am not an adoptee, but man, some of those just hit you in the feels no matter what. And it really, um, I think it's such an important thing to read from various perspectives, so you can understand other people's perspectives because you're only ever going to know yours until you go out and do the work to understand others. So definitely make sure you give her a follow, and read her work because it is absolutely beautiful and so touching. But Rena, thank you so much for your time today. This has been lovely, and we'll have to do it again. And yeah, anything you want to say?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I'm glad I could do this. It's always kind of a little nerve-wracking, but I'm excited that I'm able to kind of come and talk and share a little bit, and hopefully other women can see that they can do whatever they want, and
Amen.
right.
Amen. But yeah, this was wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And yeah, we'll see you around.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye.